Welcome back to Haunted and Historic Australia for another episode in our Adventures series. In this episode, we take a look at the Walter Lawry Memorial Park, which used to be the old Parramatta Wesleyan Methodist Cemetery. Yes, that's right, a cemetery has now been reduced to a park, and not a very nice one at that, I might add. We went to take a look. Here in North Parramatta at the Walter Lawry Memorial Park, or Parramatta's old Wesleyan Methodist Cemetery. With some ducks. It seems to point this way. I'll go and have a look at them in a minute, but I want to go and have a look over here where the ducks are heading to the little memorial. What's it? Get away, magpie. Leave the little birdies alone. Go on, rack off. Now, bear with me, I do have the flu, so my voice isn't the best. I'm sure you'll be understand me. Now, these are all the names of the people who are buried here. As you can see, there is quite a few, which means in let's watch where that magpie is. In 1961 it looks like, they changed this cemetery into a park, or public park, which, just having a little look at the grounds here, you would wonder why they bothered at all, considering there's no play gym or anything for people or kids to play on. It's just a walk through from over there to over there. Now, you can tell I'm not very pleased that they decided to do that, because as you can see, there's a lot of names there. And not so many headstones. Why? Because they knocked them all down and landscaped the area. Yes. Landscaped the area. Meaning they just threw grass over it and let a path go through. Yes. Thank you, Parramatta Council. Much appreciated. Could have left the damn cemetery here. I'm sure the ducks would have made their way through it anyway. But anyway. Yes, so let's call it a memorial park. Now, Walter Lawry was a reverend for the Wesleyan Methodist Church, born in England, came out here at a young age of about 17 or something, really young, because he was born in 1793 or so, and he came out here in the early 1800s and wanted to obviously open up a church in the Methodist, join Samuel Leigh, Reverend Samuel Leigh out here, who was probably the first Methodist out here, trying to drum up followers, because they obviously had the Anglicans and the Catholics, Church of England, Protestants, Baptists, all the others were already out here, and the Methodists were a relatively newish type of Christianity founded in America, I believe. And they decided that they were going to join up with that way of thinking and bring it out to Australia. So William made his way out here at a young age and decided he was going to build a church out here. And he built it in Parramatta on Macquarie Street. Well, it wasn't really a church, it was more of a hall. It was somewhere that they could have sermons. Previously they'd been doing it out of people's houses, some of their followers' houses, including Rowland Hassall, who was a pioneer out here at the time, hence the name Hassall Street, near Harris Park. And his daughter actually married Walter Lawry in the early 1820s, and they had a child, Elizabeth. But it was at the time where the influenza hit Parramatta hard, really hard. And as a result of the flu, which I currently have, so that's fitting, Rowland Hassall died. 2 days later, the child that Mary Hassall, who married Walter Lawry, so Mary Lawry and Walter Lawry, their daughter Elizabeth died a couple of days later from the flu as well. The whole household had it, and as did one of Mary's brother's kids as well, newborn. So it was the elderly, as a Rowland was getting on, as well as the newborn children. So it was quite a sad time, and it took out many people, not just of these families, but many people in the Parramatta area. So they were buried at the time at St John's Cemetery, and I think they were allowing all denominations by that time, which was the 1820, and that kind of probably upset Walter because they were Methodists and they wanted their own little cemetery. So he went about organising a Methodist church, which was on Macquarie Street, a hall where they could have their little sermons, as well as finding this place so as that the Wesleyan Methodist congregation could be buried here. So it wasn't early enough, unfortunately, for his daughter Elizabeth, the newborn, and Rowland Hassall, who are buried at St John's. But everyone basically after that from the congregation were buried in here. And we've got here Joseph Wern. He was one of the main congregators as well, and his family are buried here. We've got a White family, and many others who sadly have been taken away from here. I'll have some photos of that memorial thing as well. I'll put them up at the end. But yes, sadly, so we've got people buried all underneath these grounds. The headstones were removed, and only this little part here, perhaps these are the oldest. I mean, people were buried here right up until the 1940s. So I don't know how they got away with just knocking them down. People obviously didn't give us stuff. Or maybe they did and they were overruled. But council won, and we're left with maybe, 50 headstones here, if we're lucky. So, Joseph Wern, and we'll have a look at some of the others. But it is quite sad when you think about it. Some of these people were pioneers. Not sure if they were actual first fleeters, but they were close. Well, pretty close. They were the Wesleyan Methodists. I've actually got some Wesleyan Methodist people and what ancestors of mine, I should say. Nobody's really Methodist now. They kind of all confirmed to my grandmother's Catholicism. Unfortunately, I can't read these stones. They're very weathered. It looks like it might be a Kavanagh over there, Richard Kavanagh. And we've got a bin chicken. I'll leave him be. I don't know where the ducks went. They're getting hunted by the magpies. Let me jump down the next So yeah, sadly I'm probably walking on graves, but I mean anyone who enters this memorial park would be walking on graves. You wouldn't know where they were because they took the headstones away, which is a pet hate for me. They did the same thing in Liverpool when they moved the Liverpool cemetery from Apex Park, or they called it Apex Park, after they took all the gravestones away. Yeah, these have all been mounted. Apparently they were all laying flat in the 1960s around the park. So they've been erected, so it wouldn't surprise me if the bodies of these people are not directly below their headstones. They've just all been kind of put together on a united front. So we've got Richard Parker, John Ayres. Oh, we've got more aisles. Wonder if they're relations of those in the Carlingford area. Smith, Griffin, Ellison, more Parker, Costa, William Costa, and William John Laver. Looks like Lavor. Okay. Then chickens moved on. Yeah, I just wanted to come here. I had no idea this was actually here. But in looking at some of the old historic cemeteries, this one popped up. And I thought, where on earth was this? Looked it up, and of course it's in the middle of North Parramatta. Or Parramatta, I should say. I mean, this is a servo right here. We're on Burrell Street. In Groves, I believe. Near Grove Street. I used to live in Parramatta. I had no idea this was here. I didn't walk down here. That was mainly in the shops area, but we've got Joseph Curtis, Alfred Jackson. That one I cannot read. Could be another Parker. I think I can see name Parker there. Thomas Park. Martha. Not sure there. Seymour. More Isles. EYLES. Mather. Jarrett. And Hobbs. I'll just do this last line. Oh, actually there's a couple more after that. Poor Mitch isn't feeling well either. He's in the car. As you can hear, I sound awful. Anna Maria. Oh, Escort. Oh gosh, it's so withered away. Esquire. I don't know. I can't read that. John Neal. Must be Neal Esquire or something like that at the end of it. So, some pretty important sounding names anyway. That one's unreadable. Looks like a William something. Thomas Dowsnell. Yeah, it's very hard to read. Oh, here we go. Here's Joseph Warren there as well. He was at the front, so I don't know. It must be his son or something. Ada, Evelyn, Mans. I'm not sure. Apologies. The names are all on that list over there. But unfortunately, that's an interesting one, isn't it? The tombstones are very weathered and, as you can see, broken. Probably because they knocked them all down and threw them over there on the grass. They'd been laying amongst the ground for a while, and then they decided to erect them along this little concrete bit. So some of the names: Couch, Brooks. What's it say? Barker, and Raymond. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to read. So they've got some seats here, but it's not very. I don't know. I think they could have done a lot more. So we've got this growing on top of some. Lewis. I'm just reading the surnames if I can see them. Oh, that one's very hard to read, and it's cracking as well, as you can see. Elizabeth. Well, I can't read it. Now, Walter Lawry's buried here, but I don't know where his tombstone is, or any of his families. Unfortunately, they've probably been knocked down and taken away, which is really annoying, considering he founded it. And there's a couple laying down over here. Might be one of those. Bricker Brown, Clark. Okay, let's have a look. O'Hare. The O'Hare family. This one's very hard to read. Yeah, it's too hard. Sometimes if you get it on an angle, geez, the ground's a bit soft. Mulligan, Gallagher. Very hard to read. Yeah, sadly I can't get this one either. It's very difficult to read, so yes. Now, this was the Wesleyan Methodist Cemetery for Parramatta. Now, William Lawry Memorial Park. Sorry, Walter Lawry Memorial Park. Walter Lawry being Reverend Walter Lawry, who he was basically, they named him the father of Methodist religion in Parramatta. It was quite a big thing. He had a church built, as I said, on Macquarie Street, or a hall. Let me just go over here. And it was replaced by another chapel, the Leigh Memorial Chapel, or Leigh Methodist Chapel, sorry. And then built into the Leigh Methodist Church. Leigh being Samuel Leigh, the Reverend Samuel Leigh, who was the first Wesleyan Methodist to come out and start preaching here. But Walter Lawry was only young, and he organised the first church that they could, or first place that they could start doing their sermons in. So that's why his name's here, and Samuel Leigh's on the actual church over on Macquarie Street, I believe, in Parramatta. Oh, okay, so here lie the mortal remains of Walter Lawry. So I believe, well, they're stating that it's here. His body's underneath here. Whether he is or not is anyone's guess, considering they knocked half the headstones down in the park. Now I'll just quickly go around the back. It doesn't look like there's anything here. People are thinking I'm weird for filming, but that's okay. They can think I'm weird, I don't mind. I am weird, I own it. But yes, so that's where we're at here. Didn't know it was here, and you probably didn't either. And if you did, well, you should have told me. I would have done this earlier. But if you get a chance to come down to Parramatta, not doing anything else, want to have a little stroll through Memorial Park, tribute to Walter Lawry, Methodist man. So the land was granted by the Crown. So he didn't pay for this land here. He didn't have the land, but he did pay for the first church out of his own pocket. And he was only a young fella, born in 1793, so he was only in his 20s when he came out here, married Mary, and tried to start a family out here. But yeah, I'll take a couple of photos of these names, just you can see if your surname's one of them. You might have people out here that you didn't know. And I'll list, there's some noted people as well. Oakes family. don't know if there's any Hassall, or if they were all buried in St John's after the grandfather Rowland was in there. But yeah, I'll get some photos up so it'll be a lot easier to see. But definitely the Oakes family's here. And apparently they were a notable family in the area, as well as the Warren family. Okay. Yeah, definitely come and check it out. Why not? It's not really anywhere to have a picnic or let your kids play, really. I mean, I've got to see what that monolith is over there. There's something over there. I've got to find out what that is. Yeah, but come down and have a look. You never know when these places will just disappear altogether. I think it's heritage listed now, but you never know. They've done it before. They've knocked shit down and built something else. So if you want to see it before it disappears, Walter Lawry Methodist Memorial Park. Here we have the Reverend Joseph Renard Orton. So he was part of the Wesleyan mission as well, and his wife. They died in 1877. After surviving with distinction in Jamaica, Joseph Renard Orton was appointed in 1831 chairman of the New South Wales district. By his superior talents and great industry, he rendered valuable service through missions to both European and Indigenous peoples. He revived the cause of the Wesleyan Methodism in New South Wales and organised religious activities west of the Blue Mountains, widely in Tasmania, Victoria and into South Australia. He was the first missionary to preach the gospel in the settlement that became Melbourne. There you go. Oh, I didn't say that Walter Lawry also went to New Zealand, and he was the first in New Zealand to start up Wesleyan over there, as well as he tried in Tonga, but apparently talks in Tonga had already been soiled from someone who'd been there earlier, and they weren't able to make a headway with Wesleyan Methodist in there. So people are starting to walk through the park now. I better skedaddle. But yes, this is the park. Not much to see aside from the cemetery, but it's here and there's something here which is good. Would have been better had it been a full cemetery with however many hundreds of names and headstones there would have been here. But yes, come down and have a look before it's gone if you want. Otherwise, stay tuned to our videos, because we'll have many more of these little obscure places that may not be here too long. But they're here now and we've captured it, so we hope you enjoy. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch my breath. Please give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, if I can say it properly, because I might fall down dead and be buried with these people very shortly. But definitely, if you support us, we'll keep going. Thanks, and see us next time. A total of 572 burials are known to have taken place here, with the first being held in 1841 and the last in 1946. How interesting. But they were still able to knock them all down. Sadly, restoration of the remaining 48 headstones out of 572. Yeah. It's sad, but it's here. We're going to take every available opportunity to see these places, pay tribute while we can, while they're still here. Till next time.
Aussie made.